My name's Ken.
And I'm Dave. We're with the Wilson & Company team. And the first thing really is to make sure all the parties are on site for the walkthrough. That's the staff, the project management team, architect, any engineers or superintendents. So many times your construction team should be tracking punch lists throughout the project and ideally have that minimized at the end of the walk. The reality is sometimes the timelines, because of other project constraints earlier on, cause the project to be just pushed through where the completion date becomes more important, and then we'll worry about the punch list later. Not ideal to go that route, but when everybody is on site and everybody's there for the walkthrough, then the multiple walkthroughs at these facilities really get minimized, so that it's not that the owner's rep and the owner's PM will do a walk, then the staff, then the architect. So when it's ideally all at one time, it's really the most efficient way to go through and look at the punch list. And before we can get there, I just want to address what is the punch list. Yeah, so just a punch list is at the end of the project, it's the owners and the staff and all the parties involved can come and look to make sure that the work was done per the plans, per the specifications, all the finishes, that there's no issues with the drywall, there's no chips in the cabinets, the flooring is all laid out correctly. So all of those little components are properly and per the design intent, that they meet all those requirements.
Yeah, good point. Because again, we deal with it every day, but it may not be as common for some of the folks listening, right? Another part of this is the documentation handover, right? At closeout, and should be prior to final payment. There should be an exchange of documentation, and sometimes that's digital, sometimes it's a massive, set of binders, right? But those consist of warranties from both a labor perspective, a work perspective, as well as your warranties for your equipment and your material. Typically, the general contractor is going to provide you with a 1-year warranty, and that's a workmanship warranty that basically states, if something is found to be deficient, if something goes wrong, we'll come back out and we'll fix it. Oftentimes, like your flooring, we'll have like a 5-year warranty, a 10-year warranty on the material itself. The equipment, right? Your HVAC are going to have your longer warranties. The electric water heater, the more of the equipment will have more of your 10, 15, 20-year warranties. So it's important to collect those warranties and have them in hand prior to issuing final payment. Also, for ongoing and continued care, whether that's your facilities maintenance team or you take care of it yourself, O&M and manuals, understanding how to maintain and operate the components within your clinic, right? How to maintain the flooring to extend its useful life, get the most out of it, right? How to operate the mechanical system. Oftentimes we're putting a lot of complicated controls in these centers. So understanding how to operate those will help from a functionality perspective for the clinic, but also, can avoid a lot of quote unquote unnecessary callbacks and site visits after the fact. In addition, you want to get your as-built as part of those closeout documents, right? These are important to have on file for future issues, future work, future, just to have on file to understand, okay, what really happened? Where did we deviate from plans, whether, because we needed to, whether something was in the way or whatever the reasoning behind the deviation is. You can have it on paper, it and you see it and you can use it in the future. And then, kind of lastly is just training the staff, right? And I know it's like, well, it's a space, we operate in it. What do you mean training of the staff, right? But again, back to those controls, typically those are pretty involved. And oftentimes there's a lot of lockouts and a lot of set points that don't really allow for certain things to happen, but not all the time. So I think it's important for staff, specifically staff that is responsible for overseeing that stuff, the facilities maintenance stuff, or the ones utilizing it on a daily basis, right? They need to be abreast of how to use it and how to use it properly.
Yeah, and ultimately, how do you track all of this all of these items efficiently. It used to be, and sometimes it's still, I still see it where it's, you know, you're taking pictures with your phone and just writing things in a notebook, and it's just not the most efficient way to have that list. Now you got to transcribe it, send it out to the vendors to come and make their corrections, and and keeping track of it. So we do use Procore, Bluebeam, and some of these other platforms. Smart Sheets is another popular one, where it's systematically tracked on there. So there's a picture, there's a location of the issue. It can tie back to the plans to see exactly where that problem is. Procore even lets you do videos, which I love using that because I can explain what the problem is. So it's not just or a superintendent can explain what the problem is, not just to go, oh, you know, here's a picture of, you know, a wall that, you know, you might not know what the problem is, but when you're like shifting the camera angle and explaining it, it's easier for somebody, for that drywall guy or the flooring or the AC to come in and go, okay, well, I understand what I need to do here. And that really is. And then they check it off, they send a picture or a video to update to close that item out. So use technology for tracking.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I think it's important to note, once you get your items identified, everybody agrees on those items. It's of utmost importance to get them done quickly. Far too often we see things kind of linger, and it really can create issues for the clinic, but also the subcontractor, the GC, everybody involved. So I think it's important to jump on those items right away, get them done. Make sure you check them off. Make sure you have documentation of the completion of those items so that everybody can move on, right? And typically that holds up final payment, and rightfully so, right? When you don't have that lever, that monetary lever to keep folks motivated to get things done, it's very hard to get them back out there and get the stuff completed. And in addition to that, encouraging ongoing feedback on these items. So while it's important to identify the items, get them addressed quickly, and close that process out quickly, I think it's important to continue the open conversation, the ongoing feedback as to what they're experiencing on site, right? Because while we'd like to think we do everything perfectly and it lasts forever, that's not the case, right? That's not the reality of it. So as the GC, being available and being here and picking up the phone and being willing to jump in and go, I think provides a lot of value, right? And I think it's important to do because typically a lot of these doctors, they're spending a lot of money on what they're doing. So to get into something and not be able to use it, or something not be as you intended, or something not be right, it's just not the right way to go about things, right? So encouraging that ongoing feedback. A lot of our clients will also do, you know, an 11-month walkthrough, right? And typically, as stated previously, the GC warranty expires in a year. So the intent of that walkthrough is A, to identify deficiencies prior to the expiration of the warranty, right? But B, also identify things that may not fall under the warranty, but due to use may need to be addressed.
Yeah.
So yeah, that ongoing feedback is important, way past the handover process.
And it shows the longevity, that you're not running away from the project, that you're standing behind the work that you did. Whether it's, we even get clients that call us, you know, a year or 2 or 3 years after that they have an issue with something, and are you willing to help them through that? It builds, that's how long-term relationships are ultimately built.
Thank you guys for joining us. We hope we added some value here. Again, find us on YouTube, Spotify, all the platforms, Blueprints to Punch List. And if you have any questions or we can help add any value, please reach out to us at Wilson Company. Thanks.